seat. Is it up by one? You know, it's quiet, relaxed, peaceful. Here we go. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the candidates. I'm going to give you just a short background on how this came to be. Sierra Club and Recycle Hawaii decided to partner together because we wanted to ask candidates where they stood on environmental issues. We believe that these are important issues, and it's very important for us to come out and show that the environmental vote is strong. So thank you for showing up tonight. And then we also felt it was important to have someone here representing the Hawaiian community because they are the host culture, and so we asked friends that we work with already, La'akea Carvalho and his wife Kanani Fraser. They have a group called Knowledge in Motion, and we asked them to make the invitation, and that is how Julia ended up here. They asked her if she would come and stand in for the Hawaiian community and ask questions related to the environment. So, we don't have too much time. We're going to move through the questions as quickly as we can. If we do have time at the end, we will be asking questions that we've already taken from the audience. So there's a format there. Bob Ernst from the Sierra Club is standing next to the card. And you follow that format. He has cards. You turn your question into him. The reason we're asking for contact information is because we think, well, if the candidate doesn't get to ask your, answer your question tonight, they could contact you later with the answer. Okay? So we're going to ask everyone to be polite and well organized. There are campaign materials on this table up here. If anyone else has any campaign materials that they would like to share, go ahead. This forum is only for county council candidates, so that's who we would want to make use of that space there. Okay, and now Bob. So I'm going to soon be sitting down to ask questions on behalf of Recycle Hawaii. John Olson will be asking questions on behalf of Sierra Club, and Julia on behalf of the Hawaiian community. And Bob is going to direct the traffic between the candidates. We will give each candidate 2 minutes to introduce themselves and share a little bit about who they are. We're going to be strict with the timekeeping because time is short.
Aloha.
Aloha, everyone. I am Ann Green, candidate for Hawaii County Council, District 4. Resident of Puna for 18 years, and also a business owner here in Pahoa. My roots stem back to my great-grandfather, who was the first sheriff of Puna. His legacy, e malama o Puna, taking care of Puna. And that's what I've been doing for over a decade. Kokua Pahoa, formerly known as Pahoa Redensi, started in 2003. I've been the chair for that for the past 7 years, and we recently received our 401c3 status where we can now apply for grants to do more outreach programs, thanks to Renee Siracusa. I'm the president of Mama Valley Community Association for the past 6 years, and currently the vice president. Past president, vice president, past treasurer, and member of Main Street Pahoa Association for the past 10 years. One of the 4 founders, along with John Olson, Rob Tucker, and Robin Stetson, of the Pahoa Regional Town Center Steering Committee, which took place almost 3 years ago. And recently, the design guidelines was approved by the council. Last December ended my 4-year term with the Puna Community Development Plan Implementation Action Team. There, I learned issues involving volcano all the way to Pohiki and beyond. Spearheaded and a member of the Puna Watch. member of the Island-wide Drum Coalition, one of the founders of the Pahoa Booster Club, where we are awaiting a $92,000 grant in aid thanks to Faye Hamamama and Tiffany Hunt to purchase equipment for the long-awaited Pahoa High School football team. Honorary Kupuna for the men of Pahoa. We have 2 representatives here in Puna, and we are slowly being served. And now, with 2 working together as a team, we may be better served.
Aloha. I'm kind of missing Auntie Emily right here. I'm Dr. Roy Lozano. I've lived in Hawaii for 26 years, the first 15 on Maui, and about 11 years ago we decided to move here because we want to live a more natural life and raise our family here. I've been a chiropractor for 36 years, 26 living here in Hawaii. Chiropractic means, or is defined as the art and science of things natural. Before that I was a biologist and I worked for the Department of Fish and Game. Of course, biology means the study of life, and before that I was always interested in the environment. So it's something that's been with me all along. We bought a piece of land down on Po'ohiki Road, where we planted over 300 trees. We do organic farming. We have a GMO-free place there, and we just love living on the land. I decided to become involved in this race because I felt my needs weren't being met. I wasn't being served in regards to a number of issues and having to do with the environment, whether it be geothermal or GMO, or now the energy to waste plan that I don't believe are going to really serve the Hawaiian Islands. And I want to ask you, I'm going to read something in Hawaiian, and I know I'm going to say it wrong, so if you can correct me, I appreciate it. Umau ke e ka aina I ka pono. The life of the land is preserved in righteousness. You know, there's so many things going on the island that are not righteous right now, and I'd like to help change that. Aloha.
I apologize because the mic is right next to the speaker, so it's going to have feedback. So I'm just going to move away from the speaker. Aloha! Aloha! It's good to see everyone here. And first of all, I just want to say thank you, Christine and Sierra Club, John Olson and Julia. This is great that you brought everybody here together. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Also the staff. I wanted to, first of all, say this is very important because this is a chance to show who we are as candidates. And to represent you, it's an honor. I had that honor for 2 years. And I just want to share a little bit about myself. I was born in Philippines. And I came to Hawaii when I was 7 years old. I grew up here. And then I enlisted in the Air National Guard. I served for 6 years in the military. Came back. And I was going through accounting, and I put that on hold when I was going, when I ran for office at 25 years old. And one of the most important things that I've learned when I've been in this position is that there's so much to do, and there's not enough time. There's just, I wish I could I really wish that I can make a decision and please everyone. But it's the hardest part about this position is that I can't please everyone. And I have to have the integrity to make the right decision. And who I am is I look at both sides. And I try my best to make the right decision. And that's who I am. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Howard Cunningham. My granddad was a physician Veterans Hospital in Des Moines, Iowa. I used to write articles for Prevention magazine, Organic Gardening. It's an old publication. My father was co-founder of Embry-Riddle Aviation Institute. He was also a founder of CI Developers in Florida. And I grew up in more or less a military environment family. And I was faced with going to Vietnam at a very young age, and I found myself facing a very stark hypocrisy in our way of life. And I somehow, I convinced a shrink to write a note, and because of fortunately got out of it, and I joined a religious organization at a very young age, and I learned some very hard lessons. I joined the Hare Krishna movement, and there's some very good things to be said about it, but there's also some very dark things that are going on in our civilization and society. I don't put anybody raise their hands. These are the Georgia Guidestones, Northern Georgia. The first commandment is to maintain a population under 500 million people. We have some serious environmental issues going on today, and some very serious questions need to be answered. We need some good answers. My political platform, I'm founder of FreeEnergyParty.net. I became a chiropractor, and I began using IV medicine. Most of the stuff in the health food store is you can get it in an IV form, but you want somebody with some expertise, and I was trying to start a natural hospital, if you will, and they took my license. So I founded FreeEnergyParty.net. My political platform is to build a mega pool cleaner. I've written an ordinance, and it's now in litigation, that essentially colonizes the ocean. We can turn this back into a bird sanctuary. The oceans are dying, and we need some very, very a dramatic paradigm shift, and that's still building a floating city in the ocean. Thank you.
Aloha. My name is Tiffany Edwards Hunt, and if we go back to the birth, I was born in Los Angeles, Torrance to be specific. Graduated from the University of Wyoming with a Bachelor of Science in Communications and Mass Media. And when I was in college, and before that in high school, I decided to be a newspaper reporter. And right out of college, got a job at the daily newspaper at in Laramie, Wyoming, where I went to college. And immediately got sucked into crime reporting. 4 days after I was hired as a reporter, a little 8-year-old girl went missing and ultimately was found in a landfill. 4 months after I was hired, University of Wyoming student Matthew Shepard was bludgeoned and left to die on a split rail fence. So those were my stories, and right away I developed a real sensitivity that they didn't teach you in the textbook in journalism. So it was always very difficult for me in crime reporting to try to stay really detached and transfer that to politics. It's very difficult for me to be detached because I am a resident of the community. So that's where I made my way to the Big Island and covered politics for West Hawaii Today for 5.5 years. I'm very familiar with 25 Aupuni Street and now 101 Pauahi Street. And I spent some time as a legislative aide for then Councilwoman Emily Naiole and learned how to write legislation and also how to move legislation. And then I also created my own company, Tiffany Edwards Communication, and it morphed into Big Island Chronicle. I started a website, and then I pursued my dream to publish a newspaper. And here I am today, seeking to represent you on the County Council. Aloha.
Hello, my name is Tim Law, and I was born in California. I moved here when I was 18 in '72, actually Maui. I moved to Kalapana in '81. I've been here 33 years as a carpenter. I own my own banana farm in Kalapana. I'm still a carpenter. I want to represent the people, but I think there's a lot of mistakes going on with the farming industry, with geothermal and the miscommunications between people and stuff, so I thought I would give it a shot. Thank you very much.
Aloha everyone. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Cherish Alameda. I have been a resident of Puna for the last 23 years. Where I was born in California. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a military family, so I got to see the world at a young age. And when my father decided to retire, we came back to where my mother's roots are, and that was in Haula, Oahu. And I got the privilege of growing up on Homestead, and I had a passion for the ocean, so I became a lifeguard at an early age. And at that time, I couldn't see myself doing nothing else. But thank God I grew out of that. So I was a lifeguard for 9 years. After I graduated in '91, I moved to the Big Island and decided that this is where I wanted to raise my ohana. And I have 4 children and 3 grandchildren, and they are the reason I decided to run for county council, because I don't see a future that is privileged like the one I was raised in for them anymore. We don't have a swimming area for our children. There's no youth programs out here for the kids. These kids are fighting on the streets, right in their own schools, without any notice. The teachers, they know, but what can they really do about it? You know, you got YouTube. These kids are fighting on YouTube, and it's becoming a huge media propaganda, and we're allowing it. And I want to see youth programs that are going to turn that negative energy into positive energy. I want the kapuna's knowledge and our keikis wisdom of technology to be molded together so we can create some awesome programs. So you're going to hear a little bit more about my platform tonight. So you guys be blessed. Thank you.
Aloha. My name is Roxanne R.J. Hampton. Now that was a big secret until I decided to run for county council. I'm known by R.J. Hampton. And I was born in the Bronx, moved to New Jersey, escaped to California, discovered that I was really good in the social services, so I spent 15 years working in specialty interests like women, pregnancy and addiction, or single parent training, those kinds of things. And when that got old, I decided to become a cab driver in LA. You know what I'm talking about. And from there, I moved to San Francisco, where it is that I really learned about politics. And once I learned about politics, I decided to do like a lot of smart people and try to take politics out of politics. That we would get down to policies, and that policy is more important than politics. In arriving here in Hawaii Big Islands, I was a wildcrafter. When it was kukui, we picked kukui, Steve and I. When it was noni, we picked noni. As a wildcrafter, I learned about Miley, I learned about Momaki, I learned about Hopla. I walked through this district that now stretches from Opikau to Mountain View, and I don't know, it's going to take a special individual to take care of this district. I'm going to say that right now. And all of the people that are standing here, sitting here tonight, are well worthy of your consideration, and that's why it's so important that we attend these forums and that people come out and attend these forums. As this evening goes on, my stand on a lot of things will become clear to you, and that's what this forum is all about. So to save time and save a little bit of interest, I'm going to pass it over to Brandon.
Aloha Kauko. My name is Frank Whale. I was born in Manoa housing to a single parent, and I am a descendant of great-great-grandparents that were first came here to work at the Onamea plantation. So you may think, okay, so what? So the point is that my love for the islands is deep. And with my years of experience, I remember I was partly raised in Kamawala by my grandparents. And my first job was to pick coffee from my Uncle Joe's place in Hololoa. And in fact, that was the first and only job that I was fired. Because at that age, all the berries looked pretty. I was immediately sent to the kitchen to help my auntie. The point is that in working in Hawaii, my half-brothers went to the mainland because that's where the pay was for the jobs. But my love for the islands, I couldn't leave. So that meant that I had to work full-time, part-time, and on-call, just to save enough money to put for the rent and for a down payment of a house. And this shouldn't be. We can make jobs that are well-balanced in the various different degrees of working on the land or creating jobs in an office. What I'm seeing now is that we are polluting our environment, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. In Waikiki Beach, if you walk in the water and you feel the sand, it is oil from all the lotions that have washed off. I remember when going on the car with Grandpa and Grandma on the road to Kona, and you would rarely even see a car. But now what I'm seeing, and this is why I'm here, I'm asking that we need to have foresight of what we're planning ahead, because we do not need to be, we do not need to become like Oahu has, where you can't even tell where Kailua or Waimanalu begins or ends. Mahalo.
Aloha. My name is Daniel Paleka. I was born on Maui. First of all, thank you very much for coming this evening. It's very, I feel honored to be in front of you, be able to tell you a little bit about myself. Like Gregor said, you know, it's a special thing to be thought of as a candidate and really to serve for our community. But anyway, born on Maui, moved here when I was about 5, 6 years old with my mom. My dad was pure Hawaiian. He was a Hawaiian entertainer. Used to play down in the Banyan Drive area a long time ago. So of course, it was natural. Around 14 years old, I started working in the hotel industry, hospitality industry, where, you know, I kind of got that first sense of service, you know, about serving people. And I carried that through my whole life, you know. And I think that really serious, because, you know, sometimes when you go through a health issue, especially if you go through a serious health issue, you really value the really important things about life. And, you know, my mom, she's from California, but she's been here for 40 plus years in Hawaii. But, you know, I remember the days when we used to pick fun, you know, with my grandma. She used to pick limbo, you know, dry fish in the old box with the screen door. And I used to run over in the morning just to get dry fish and boy in the morning. You know, so those kind of memories that, you know, you really think about it. But really it's about service. Went to school here, graduated in Aloha, went to Kamehameha, got early release from over there, graduated in Aloha. Ended up graduating from UH Hilo in 2001. It's kind of a big span, yeah. But first of all, I went to work for the State Department of Corrections for 15 years almost. And now I work for the Hawaii Community College. But to learn more about me this evening, wish I had more time to talk about it, but thanks.
Okay, thank you to all the candidates for sharing that information. And we're going to start with our questions, but we're going to allow Julia to go first in honor of the host culture and respect for the Native Hawaiian community. So this is a question you could either direct to all of the candidates or
Kamai aloha. Aloha. As well as to our candidates, mahalo for coming. I wanted to share a little with you before, I want to inform you, brief you, before I ask the question. As a native Hawaiian descendant from this land, born and raised, my heart truly sits and lives on this land. This land knows my voice and footsteps. So, the question I ask you, which is very vital to our family, there is one very important value in the Hawaiian system. That to me is aloha. What is your aloha to the land of Puna?
And candidates will have 1 minute to answer the question.
Aloha. Aloha, hello. Aloha, goodbye. Aloha, love. That's what aloha means to me. And that's what we want to portray as a Hawaiian myself to everybody, that the aloha that I have is all. Be you young, old, or whatever. I embrace all with my aloha. Thank you.
I already covered much of this in my introductory, in that when we moved here, it was the primary reason was to live on the land, raise my family in a more natural way because Maui had become so crowded. And we have never, ever used the poison on our land. We recognize that, actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to probably make some mistakes in this, so what are we going to do, you know? Do you know why the life of the land is preserved in righteousness? Or this is my idea of why. In the creation story of the Hawaiians, there was Father, Son, and Mother Earth. Their firstborn was stillborn. It was a stem. They planted that in the ground, and they watched it come up, and it was kalo. The firstborn's child was kalo. The secondborn was the Hawaiian culture, well, Polynesian culture, human beings. The Hawaiians know what's in the soil. They know when there's life coming from the soil, and they know how important the soil is for life. Thank you.
Aloha to the land. One of the things that I've been working on is actually what RJ mentioned, taking politics out of politics, and all that's left is policies. And one of the policies that I introduced in council was an organic bill. It's an organic incentive for organic farmers in Hawaii County. It would lower the tax for any farmers who are certified organic. And that's a way we can perpetuate the land. And one of the other things is we gave money to Kalani and also Hawaiian Sanctuary to have free educational agriculture workshops for people in the community. And the most important thing about values, I have 3 core values. One is integrity first, second is remember the people, and third is excellence with aloha. And I will always do my best with aloha.
A paradigm shift is in order to restore the Kingdom of Hawaii, and this is the word sanctuary. And that paradigm shift is aloha. If we use what we have learned, as we're learning every 5 years more than we have known in the entire history of human civilization, if we can apply it in a floating capacity, the ocean, as a circle government, no written law or standing army, as a voluntary patriarchy that colonizes space and creates the highest standard of living imaginable for an unlimited number of people for an indefinite period of time. We can restore the Aina back to what it was 200 years ago. We can turn lemons into lemonade. We can do this, but it involves a paradigm shift. Another way of looking at how to solve the problem. We're not going to solve a problem we don't understand. The problem is us. We have met the enemy, and it is us. The solution is in creating an exclusive biosphere for the human species that does not compete with the mosquito. What to speak of, all the species in existence, less than 1%, is still here.
My aloha to the land of Puna is conveyed through my hula. I am a practitioner with the Te Ha'a Lehua Halau, and we're fire dancers. And to me, when I'm practicing hula, it's the poetry that is able to describe this deep-seated love, not just for Puna, but for Pele. And I just have great reverence for the deity and for this land, and I feel really blessed to live here and be clinging to an active volcano. My home is situated on the forest reserve, and it's just so peaceful to not be distracted with the smartphone and the computer and just listen to the birds. And sometimes I'll get the smell of the lava and get a reality check that at any time my house could go and my land could be consumed. 5 seconds.
Hi. When you say aloha for the land, does that include the ocean and everything else around us? Yeah. Well, my aloha is for the ocean. I learned how to surf when I was 8. I've surfed, still surf. Hawaiians have not gotten enough recognition for one of the greatest things in the world, is surfing. And around the world, surfing is thought of as something really great, except in the United States, which is really sad, because it's one of the greatest sports in the world. Thank you.
Aloha for the land, especially here in Puna, has to be started with education of the land. We, as Hawaiians, we know our rights, we know what's happening to our land, and it's unfortunate that the people who come here to call this their home are not always as educated. They want to put things on their property or put things in the ocean that is going to cause harm. And they don't understand that they're actually doing that. So aloha starts with education, educating our children, educating ourselves, educating those who we share the land with. You call yourself Native, you call yourself a Polynesian, you call yourself this, you call this your home, then start showing it some aloha. Stop using the pesticides. Start using your recycle center. Get some cardboard boxes, put them down. There's so many things that you can do besides that. Aloha starts right here. Mahalo.
How did I show my aloha? How do I show my aloha to the land? Well, when I first got here, like I said, I wildcrafted. As I wildcrafted, I realized that there were things that needed to be done and replanted. How I show my aloha to the land is starting community gardens. How I show my aloha to the land is to get to know as many kupuna and find out what was here and what needs to be here again. We need to go back. They say progress speeds us up, resulting in not so much time. I think one of the things that we have to do, if we're going to be a district, if we're going to be an island, we have to stop. We have to begin to look around, all around, at each other, eye to eye. That's the aloha, is to not let you try to change Hawaii, but to let Hawaii, a lot of you have heard this, let Hawaii change you. Begin to look at each other in the eyes. I can't help but tell you, my tears are my sweat, and my sweat are my tears. And that question makes me tear. because there's so much that has been taken, so much that people want, that it's important. And I'm going to say it again, that we start to look at each other in the eyes.
Aloha, everyone. My grandfather used to teach me. He was a farmer in Kamawela, and he didn't use poison. I would see him take the hoe and pick at the ground, at the weeds, until no more weeds came up. He was kind to animals, and he used to say, you know, Francisco, if you treat the land well and you protect it, you will never starve. And my grandmother, the matriarch of the family, used to teach me ho'oponopono. And she used to say, you respect everyone, no matter where they are in our society, you respect them. That's my aloha.
You know, I feel real, I don't want to advantage you. Not because I'm Hawaiian, Hawaiian, raised Hawaiian. Yeah, I picked Vana when I was small, and it's that connection. You know, for us Hawaiians, something real dear to us. We know we come from this land. You know, you learn them from when you smoke, when you smoke. You feel them when you pick your first pee. You pick limo, your grandma teach you how to watch the waves, pick limo. You get the connection. That's aloha to you, Maina. Yeah. If you ask the question, okay. You know, you raise your mea'ai, your food, kalo, done that. Get your own fish to eat. That is aloha to you, Aina. Mahalo.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to change the mood a little bit here with my questions. I'm going to ask a series of questions in a row, and they're true or false. So, and then my next turn around, I'll get into questions that people can answer individually. But what I want to do is I just want to create a framework so people understand later when you give your opinion about something, you know, what kind of understanding is that grounded on. And all of these questions, grounded in, and all of these questions relate to resource management. That's what we do at Recycle Hawaii. So this is how it will go. My first question is true or false? There is no residential curbside pickup on Hawaii Island. And then I'll say, let's see, a show of hands for those who think this is true, and then a show of hands for those who think this is false. If you have a question about my question, you can ask it. Okay, so that is the first question. True or false? There is no residential curbside pickup on Hawaii Island. Everyone who thinks that that is true, that there's no residential curbside pickup, please raise your hand.
I actually called the Travis Casino and tried to find this question out. It's not online. I haven't seen it yet.
There's private.
Okay, so
Private collection. Commercial or
excuse me? Okay, so this this exchange right here demonstrates the point exactly. I will answer the question. There is curbside pickup, and it's done on a commercial basis. The county doesn't do it, but there is commercial curbside pickup. Okay? Private, yeah. Okay, good. We're doing a good job. Okay, number two, true or false? Now that we know that there is such a thing as commercial curbside pickup, that there are businesses that go around and pick up at the curbside. If these companies, if you set aside recyclable materials for curbside pickup with a commercial vendor, if they pick it up, are they allowed to take it to the mixed recycling bin at the transfer station on your behalf? So true means yes. Commercial operator comes to your home, they pick up your recyclables, And is it true that they can take those recyclables to the mixed recycling bin for you at the transfer station? True or false? Let's see a hand, show of hands, true. Okay, let's see a show of hands, false. All right, very good. Yeah, if you set aside your recyclables and someone comes and picks it up on your behalf, it's against the law for them to take that for you to the mixed recycling bin at the transfer station. Okay, 3, true or false? Plans to build an incinerator in Hilo include redirecting discards from Waimea, Honoka'a, Laupahoehoe, and Pauilo to East Hawaii. So there's a plan afoot to build an incinerator in Hilo, and part of that plan would take discards, I'm trying not to use the word waste or trash or rubbish, discards from Waimea, Honoka'a, Laupahoehoe, and Pauilo, and instead of taking them to Kona, they would go to East Hawaii. Is this true or false? Who thinks it's true? Okay, it is true. That is the plan. True or false? State-of-the-art waste-to-energy plants have no emissions. True or false? I actually thought somebody might say it's true. Okay, they do have emissions. Even the very best technology out there will emit quite a bit of carbon dioxide, and there will be some NOx emissions. True or false? There is no need to separate discards fed into a waste-to-energy plant. So a waste-to-energy plant, is it going to allow you to just kind of back up to it with a truck and shovel the stuff in, or does it have to get sorted first? Who thinks it has to get sorted first? Okay, yeah, that's true. It does have to get sorted first. Oh, stand up. Okay, sorry. True or false? Styrofoam is a kind of plastic. True or false? True or false? Is styrofoam a form of plastic? Okay, yes, it is. It's plastic that has air popped into it, and just a little bit of FYI, my necklace is made from styrofoam peanuts, my leg, without the air in it. Yeah. Okay, and my last true or false question. Thank you so much for putting up with this. I mean, you come to give your, spiel, and here you are getting peppered with questions that don't necessarily, yeah. Anyway, true or false? Existing County of Hawaii recycling programs remove the majority of recyclable materials from the waste stream. True or false? Is that true?
You're talking about the one that the mayor is...
So the programs that we already have in place, we do have a number of recycling programs. We have a metals recycling program, a green waste recycling program, mixed recycling, we have high fives, all of these programs that we already have. Do they get most of the recyclable materials out of the waste stream? So let's see a show of hands for whoever thinks that most of the recyclables that are in the waste stream are being removed by existing county programs.
I heard on NPR driving out here, less than 10% winds up in the landfill, whatever but it's all awful.
Okay, so actually the existing programs only capture about 37%. All right, so there it is, you're off the hook. Now John gets to ask some questions, and then next time I'll go back to the original format with each person getting to answer.
Make it a lot easier. We'll try some simple yes or no. So, if you're elected to your council seat, would you continue to support the GMO restrictions that the county has in place? Yes or no? Let's start with Roy.
Absolutely.
that the anti-fracking and the 24/7?
No, this is just the GMO.
Oh,
GMO.
sorry. One more time, John.
The county has passed legislation
Yes.
restricting GMO.
Absolutely, I think it's a pretty weak bill. I would have wanted to squash it out. I would have liked to have gotten rid of it all.
But I will support the bill that's there, and I hope the suit against Hawaii County is lost.
You know, we really need to find out what's going to happen on that suit, and then we can make decisions then.
I am not in the least in favor of GMOs. However, I do feel that the endeavors, the litigation type stuff that we're doing as a government is an awful lot of energy and taxpayers' dollars, and it's a diversion if anything else. If this ordinance that I am legislating were passed, it is called the solution to the disregard of the lowest law enforcement party for cannabis ordinance. I thought we were...
So yes or no?
I guess no. Hemp solves the problem by free enterprise. Government is a joke.
Because everybody else had a chance for a few words, we'll say yes or no with a few words, okay?
Yes. And the few words that I have are, I think we should follow in Maui's footsteps and put the initiative on the ballot.
Yes, I agree with no GMOs, no new GMOs, unless they hurt our farmers. Our farmers are important to us. And if you take away their farming rights, which they do have rights as a business. Anyways, I'm not getting into it.
You just did.
Yes.
Yes.
Aloha, and it's yes, and I'm raising avocados for a guacamole business, and the business is there for non-GMO that I can sell to other countries.
I support idea of going toward a GMO-free Hawaii, but like Tim, I support our farmers. Yeah, if it's affecting them.
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes, I agree with Tiffany. Put it on the ballot.
All right. On July 9, 2012, the State Capitol and the Committee of Hawaiian Affairs had passed an act that's relating to Native Hawaiians. This allowed the state of Hawaii to have 8 representatives, 1 from each island, to do our natural resources and sit with the Department of Land and Natural Resources. They were chosen for generational knowledge through their practices in descendant lines. The county, however, does not have an advisory committee to help manage our resources rightfully. What is your take, and how would you implement an Puna Council in the county status?
You know, when I think about that, I really don't know how we could do it and where would we start? Because we have the Puna Council, and there's a lot of I want to say redundancy. And how would we try to make it to where, of course, there's a state and a county, but I would really have to look into it. I wouldn't be able to give you an answer right now. Sorry.
Please restate the question. Please. Repeat the question. No.
What would be your position as councilman, I'll make it easier, to have a committee in the county for Native Hawaiians to be the advisors of our natural resources?
The Kingdom of Hawaii is still an intact nation that has been disregarded by a criminal conspiracy. And the only straight answer I can give you is that we need a paradigm shift. Because regardless of what we agree or don't agree on what to do on the immediate, if the oceans are dying, and in 50 years, there isn't going to be anything to talk about. It's not just a committee or thinking we're going to solve something on some temporary remedy. It's a Band-Aid. There needs to be a paradigm shift. And hemp is at the heart of it. Low nitrogen fixing, industrial grade hemp makes GMOs or geothermal or all these technologies that are killing the ecosystem obsolete.
All right.
So during the 2006-2008 term, while working as a legislative aide, I had the pleasure of putting together the legislation that initiated the Cultural Resources Commission at the county level. Anybody would like to become a member of that commission, they may have vacancies. Maybe Gregor can tell you about them if they're in District 4. I'm not sure about District 5. But we do have a Cultural Resources Commission, and if I have the pleasure of serving at the county level, I will build on that ordinance. And also we worked on legislation that allows for Native Hawaiian building materials to be used in buildings. So I would like to continue to pursue those endeavors because it's very important.
I agree with Tiffany because she said she's been there and done that. I don't really have an answer for it. So I would like to build on it with the resources that are at hand and check into it more.
Like Tiffany said, there is a committee that is already in place, but unfortunately, we don't have any Hawaiians sitting on that committee. So what we want is we want Hawaiians to step forward. This is your bill. This is your time to say, this is what we want. This is how we want it done. And this opportunity is yours. So, you know, Auntie Faye, she's taking a prestige of herself on that floor when she speaks Hawaiian. And I give her applaud for that because she's taking a stand that no one else wants to take. There's plenty of people out there who can speak Hawaiian, but how often do we use it? You know, that's part of the Aloha. You want to see something move, then you have to move with it. You cannot just sit here, wala'au, talk, and think it's going to get done. It's not. You have to put it into motion. You have to want to be part of that motion and get the motion going in order for you to get to where you want to be. So start small, like everything else, and then let's grow from it. The more Hawaiians we know, the more people we speak to. Those of you who want to call this your home and want to get involved, please do so.
was never very fun.
If I'm elected, I certainly will scope out and take advantage of people like you to put together what is needed. To think that I, as a council person, have all the answers would be foolish. It's part of a council person's duty to recognize the areas of expertise that are in her community and tap them. I am of the persuasion that when a county builds an indigenous building and then tells them they can't live in it, it's kind of stupid. So if I'm elected, I hope to be able to put, excuse the pun, teeth into that indigenous culture, resource or whatever it is building, so that people can have the villages and teach us all about what it's like to live in a grass hut or to go, swimming in a fishing hole that's made by people, and you get close to the island. So, yeah. So I know you got people in mind, so we could talk.
Aloha. This is really special because I really want to be able to preserve our lands for agriculture, for our forests, for our hunting trails. My great-grand-uncles were hanai'd by Hawaiian families in Honolulu because of tragedies that hit our family. The point is if I get elected, I'm reaching out to you and making them lead while we pull in all the other organizations that are doing a tremendous job in preserving and protecting conservation, our forests, everything, and bring them all together. Let's work out the dynamics and take sound ground and then move forward. Because if we don't start now, we're going to start losing our lands. Mahalo.
The question was in regard to July 9, 2012, the act between the LNR that creates the advisory committee. What would I do to implement an advisory committee? I would do like how our Hawaiian family do. Or I would suggest, being just a member of the council, I would suggest they do it the Hawaiian way. You go to the kupuna, let the vauke say what they want to say. Tohia, everybody kuka, and you come up with your representatives. Aye? Aye. My God.
Aye, mahalo. Good point.
How are you?
Just kidding. But you're right. First of all, we have to involve the kupunas. Who else knows better than our kupunas? I can't say that. Who else knows better than our kupunas? Those are the ones that we need to get in touch with. They're the ones that we need advice from to tell us what we should do, how we want it done, and where we want it done. So, gratefully, we do still have kupunas, and we need to get them in with us.
One of the first things I did before I decided to run was to call Harry Kim and Brenda Ford. I thought if I could pass muster with those two, that'd be pretty good. And Harry Kim now comes to my office once a week, once every 2 weeks, and we talk story. And one of the things he said around the Hawaiian issue, because I was talking about sovereignty after I attended Uncle Robert's Sustainability Festival for the 3 days last weekend, I said, well, how do you do this? And he said, well, this is what I did. I invited every Hawaiian elder to come into my office and let me know what they wanted. I didn't promise them anything because there's certain constitutional laws and state constitutional laws, but that's what I would do. I'd invite people who wanted to come in because I do not know that many Hawaiian people, I'll admit it. I would try to, and hopefully I will more. I think what Uncle Robert is doing out there is fantastic. The Aloha he shared, all the people who participated. It was just a fantastic event, spaceships and all. It was just fantastic. I learned so much, and it was so cool to see how many of my Puna friends who are also in here right now have done so much for the Aina. You'd be surprised. I think a lot of us maybe, I hate to say it, but we might be incarnated Hawaiians. Actually, I'd love to say that.
Wow, again, you folks are going to have a hard choice out there. Okay, my next question. Straight up. Do you support Mayor Kanoi's plan to build a mass burn incinerator in South Hilo?
Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, let me, I'll go like that. I'm not in favor of. I'd love to.
Any utility company must be publicly owned. If it's private, you're inviting disaster. Every instance of private taking control of utility has wound up in high prices and ecological disasters.
Are we doing a minute or a few words? Yes, few words, okay. Yes or no, a few words.
Absolutely not. It's something that all of you should be watching very closely because it could happen so fast before we even blink our eyes.
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And please read the Zero Waste Implementation Plan for the County of Hawaii. This is wonderful. I don't know what Mayor Kanoi is thinking.
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
I don't know. It's easy. I mean, okay. No. We are on a good road here in recycling. We went down the list in how much we are on a good road. But to take out any option, I cannot do that.
Thank you. No. But if there's one that's going to be built anyway without our consent, I wish they would do a small one with capabilities of expanding for future generations. But no.
Absolutely no. And you really need to study this because it's a $120 billion boondoggle. A lot of people are going to make money. The next council is going to be the one who votes on it. The unions are behind it. You have a couple candidates up here who are union endorsed, so you want to be real careful who you vote for.
Yes or no?
I will be supporting Mayor Billy Kanoi, and I am looking at the proposals to see what we're going to do. Thank you.
The County of Hawaii currently has on the books native forest preservation tax exemptions for those people willing to put their land into that category, for which they are assessed a minimum $100 tax-free or irrespective of basically dimension of lot or anything else, so long as they promise to keep the lands in preservation and maintain the lands at about a 3/4% native forest state. As an elected council person, one, would you continue to support that? And two, would you be willing to take that a step further and move that into the county charter?
So let's do 1 minute, starting with Tiffany.
I absolutely support the tax exemption for native forests. I actually think that we should look at pen grading and maybe come up with some zones and put in our county code that in certain zones there's no pen-to-pen grading in order to preserve our native forests.
I also agree, but I do believe that there should be some form of zoning also.
I definitely agree, and what I really want to say is that we really have to protect our native forests and all the conservation. Whatever's been set aside, we need to keep it. And so I'm a real big enemy of poaching. I'm a real big enemy of people coming in and taking what's not theirs. So what I want to say to you all is that I will work hard to preserve and conserve and to be a champion of those kinds of issues. Thank you.
That is 100% yes. And we need to preserve not only our forests, but our coastal areas as well. Okay? As a teenager, I could ride my horse to the beach, and then one day they started housing, and I was denied beach access. As a keki, I never forgot that.
Regarding tax exemptions for conservation lands, sure, I agree.
Totally agree for all of our islands.
Yeah, I totally agree. However, there are some, this is where I get myself in trouble. There are some tax exemptions for the rich and famous that I would like to take a look at. We need a little bit more money in our coffers, and this has been going on since 1978 when the state handed over the real property tax to the county with no oversight. Can you imagine that? Imagine the guys in county in charge who have been voted in by the guys who have all the money. So they're being protected, and I think we need to take a look at that.
That's a great question, John, because I was actually looking into this. And the native forest is the lowest assessed value. And yes, this is what I've been working on regarding even the organic incentive bill. The reason why I wanted to put an incentive for organic farmers is because there's an annual inspection. And what has been going on is that there's these gentlemen farmers who put up a fence and assess it as a ranch lot, and they're taking advantage of the system. So preservation, I was even looking at open space to try to figure out something in our tax code, but this is actually, this gets me excited. Yes, I would support it.
The answer is yes. However, just as poaching in Africa, I mean, the elements are disappearing. It's going on regardless of what laws we're creating. This is why we need to create a self-sustaining economy where there is creation of wealth, and that will only come through a cannabis economy. It's only grassroots, nitrogen-fixing, and poor soil solution to our problems. We can draw as many laws as we like, but if we allow the present money system to rule, there won't be anything here.
It sounds like all of you love Puna. You've had a great experience here. Could you please share with me just one cultural experience that you were taught in Puna? Thank you. One cultural experience that you both learned. I heard of some of you, but please share with me one Hawaiian cultural experience that was taught to you from here, the land of Puna?
Kind of don't understand the question. I mean, I know about midnight marchers. I know about when we lived down in Kalapana, marching and stuff like that. That's part of the culture and being part of that. But is being in a chant or in a ritual of some kind, I don't understand. I'm trying, but I do know about, you know, I was on Maui and with my son, and I had the chicken skin experience. We lived next to a graveyard. It was an older graveyard in Kuau, and it was one of the most horrific experiences I've ever had, and I know it was Hawaiian, and I know it was because I was by a Hawaiian graveyard. Thank you very much.
Growing up on the mainland, and then coming back to Hawaii was a big shock. But the greatest thing I learned was the trueness of Aloha when I moved to Puna. In Oahu, you don't see it too much anymore. But here, it's implemented in every household you go to, hopefully the ones you go to also. But the greatest experience I've had, I think, culturally, is learning how to do an imu. But the Aloha spirit is what has never left me. Aloha.
You know, that makes me just kind of go crazy because I've had so many. And I just thought I'd do one off the top of my head. A very good friend is Kimo Owai, Kimo Owai. And he taught me how to greet the sun by singing, I don't know, but he taught me it and it flew out my head. But the melody still is in my head, and I think that was the biggest thing, was to learn how to greet the day, how to greet it, meet it, and not let it defeat you. And I guess just knowing that made it a lot easier for me to live here, was knowing how to greet the sun.
This is a real deep question. And to cite just one thing, it's being a part of the Aina. It's not just being Hawaiian. It is who we are that is koko, part the blood. Every day I thank the earth, the sky. I talk to the wind. When I plant, I ask that it grows strong. This is part of me, to separate me, to say that something separate experience. I have to say that every day I radiate with the culture that I identify with. Thank you.
Again, you're disadvantaged. I learned plenty of things here. With my Kamehameha family that adopted me and I was in this around. One really important one, video that I like to share, is about how to make hala. Puna pai hala ika hala. You know, when you make your hala, you become giant, stupid. And then I remember one lady down in Kyokash, the Eliza's, yeah, she's make all the beautiful Hollands. Just what I really remember from these sections of picking hollow.
Being Hawaiian, grown up by Hawaiian grandparents, the first thing that was taught to me was the hula. But there is also something else that I want to share with everybody. That when you go out to pick a flower, a leaf, please say, kalamai, but I need this, and mahalo nui. That thing, to say that you're going to give it back. You're going to give back whatever you pick. But always, kalamai, I need this, and then take it. Mahalo.
Well, I'll say this, I haven't had enough fantastic Hawaiian connections. However, my oldest son, Zorba Lozano, we moved here 11 years ago. He was 13 years old, and we had a choice of schools. So on a Sunday, it was his birthday actually, we went down to Ku'okala, and we were walking the campus, and we see Susie Osborne there. And she takes us in the hale, and the next thing you know, she says, "I will save a spot for your boy." And he was in the second graduating class. So we had 6 years of a wonderful experience with that school there. The senior project was we cut a tree down. Bob Patrici planed it for us, and he made a surfboard Hawaiian style out of it. It was a beautiful experience for us. The other thing I have is, when you meet a male Hawaiian, I guess the way they would greet normally would be touching noses, but I thought that'd be forward for me, so I tend to shake their hand. And what's amazing to me, and I shared this with Robert Jr. last week, that no matter how big they are, when you shake their hand, they're so soft. And what he shared with me he said, "We're giving aloha. We're giving aloha to you." And one last thing, my ulu that I got from Waipio as a gift started fruiting this last year, and it is my fruit, and I'm so grateful you brought ulu over.
Mine's also a school, and Napa'i. But before I mention that, I do want to mention that I identify myself as a Filipino. I'm a proud Filipino. I respect the host culture. That I have so much respect. But when I really delved into it was the Napa'i graduation. It was 2 hours of Hawaiian chants. When they entered the building, they chanted. When the males, they did their hula. It was speechless. I was so thankful that my brother was translating the whole thing, because the story that they told about, I forgot the Hawaiian name of the man, but he went through the leprosy and he made sure that he took his family with him because he didn't want to separate his wife and his family. And that was the greatest experience that I had.
When I first moved to the Big Island, I met a Hawaiian family who was telling me the story that Mama Aina was how they regarded their god, and not Pele Aina. Pele Aina was brought on by King Kamehameha, which is the king of Hawaiian culture, were matriarchies, not patriarchies. King Kamehameha was supported by the queen's guns, not by coincidence. Thank you.
I mentioned earlier that I practiced hula, so that would have been my first answer. I was envisioning how many times I have done my kupe'e, and it's definitely when I do my kupe'e, it's my settling in, and it's very meditative for me. But I flashed on my real answer, and that is an epiphany I had when I had the pleasure of touring the Hokulea. And I'll never forget being on deck and speaking with the navigator, and he corrected me and he said, "You are not Haole." And that, in living in Hawaii, no, I'm not Caucasian. I'm not from my family is not from the Caucasus Mountains. So that doesn't work. And no, I'm not Haole, because my family, I have breath. I carry my ancestors with me. And when I speak to people and when I address people, I share that breath. I share my genealogy. So I don't know what I am, but I am so blessed to be on this island and to have children that only know this as their home.
Okay, let's see a show of hands. How many people would like to take a short break? All right. So, we surely don't want to miss anyone in the audience. 5 minutes. Yeah, but we kind of feel like it might be good for people to get up and stretch their legs and maybe use the bathroom. And we'll be back here in 5 minutes, okay? Thank you.